Have you ever woken up and felt that deep, familiar stiffness in your knees? Maybe your hips ache when you rise from a chair, or your hands feel swollen and tight as you pour your morning coffee. If you're over 70, chances are joint pain has become a daily companion, unwanted, uninvited, but always present. But what if I told you there's a secret, one that's been quietly preserved for centuries, nestled along the sun-drenched coasts of the Mediterranean, that could help you feel more flexible, less inflamed, and more you again? It's not a pill. Not a fad. It's a way of living, and more importantly, a way of eating, that science is only now beginning to catch up with. For generations, people in places like Greece, Italy, and coastal Spain have aged differently. You'll find men and women well into their 80s and 90s walking upright, tending their gardens, and sitting cross-legged on the floor without a second thought. Their secret isn't locked away in genetics. It's in their food, their rhythm, their rituals. They eat the Mediterranean way. Let me tell you about Eleni. She's 88 years old, lives on the island of Ikaria in Greece, often called the island where people forget to die. She still climbs hills to gather wild herbs and carries baskets of vegetables back to her kitchen. She never complains about her knees. When asked about her joints, she laughed and said, "Why would they hurt? I feed them every day." So, what does that mean, feeding your joints? It begins with anti-inflammatory nutrition, foods that cool the fire inside your body. Because that's what arthritis is, after all. Inflammation. Silent, simmering, and often caused or worsened by what we eat. Let's start with the cornerstone of the Mediterranean diet. Extra virgin olive oil. This isn't just a cooking ingredient, it's medicine. Real, cold-pressed olive oil is rich in oleocanthal, a natural compound that works in the body much like ibuprofen. It reduces inflammatory pathways, soothes stiffness, and protects cartilage, the cushioning between your bones. In fact, studies from the University of Pennsylvania have shown that daily consumption of olive oil can significantly reduce joint pain in people over 60. But here's the key, it has to be real olive oil. Not the cheap, blended stuff. Eleni? She presses her own. But even if you don't have an olive tree in your backyard, you can still find good quality oil. Look for a dark bottle, a harvest date within the past year, and a peppery bite when you taste it. That's the oleocanthal at work. Drizzle it on your salad. Dip your bread in it. Sauté your vegetables. A tablespoon a day could mean the difference between walking upright or waking up sore. Next, let's talk about fatty fish, salmon, sardines, mackerel. These fish are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, which have powerful anti-inflammatory effects. A study in the Annals of the Rheumatic Diseases found that seniors who ate oily fish at least twice a week reported less joint pain and improved mobility compared to those who didn't. These omega-3s help lubricate the joints, reduce morning stiffness, and even slow the progression of arthritis. If fish isn't your favorite, consider this. In Crete, even the pickiest eaters learn to love sardines. Grilled with lemon, olive oil, and herbs, they become more than food, they become therapy. And then there's color, lots of it. The Mediterranean plate is filled with fruits and vegetables in every hue. Tomatoes, spinach, red onions, eggplant, oranges, berries. These aren't just pretty, they're packed with antioxidants like vitamin C, beta-carotene, and polyphenol that protect your joints from oxidative stress. That's the kind of internal damage that stiffens your body and eats away at cartilage over time. When researchers studied the diets of elderly populations across Italy and Spain, they found that those who consumed the widest variety of colorful plant foods had less joint degeneration, even if they had arthritis in their medical records. It's no accident. It's no miracle. It's deliberate. These people, like Eleni, aren't thinking about anti-inflammatory diets the way we do. They're simply eating what's grown close to home. What's fresh. What's seasonal. And they prepare it with love and ritual. There's a lesson there. Let's not forget herbs and spices, rosemary, oregano, turmeric, garlic. These don't just add flavor. They add healing. Garlic contains diallyl disulfide, a compound that's been shown to block enzymes that damage cartilage. Turmeric? It's nature's anti-inflammatory superstar, especially when combined with a bit of black pepper. Even something as small as switching your salt for lemon juice and herbs can shift your body's chemistry toward healing. But food is only part of the secret. The Mediterranean lifestyle is just as powerful. People there don't just eat differently. They move differently. They walk everywhere. Not as exercise, but as life. They tend to their gardens, knead dough, sweep their porches, and gather herbs from rocky hillsides. This kind of low-impact, daily movement keeps joints lubricated and muscles strong, two things that are absolutely essential after 70. And just as importantly, they rest. They nap in the afternoon. They eat slowly, with others. They laugh. They breathe deeply. Stress, after all, is a major trigger of inflammation. And chronic stress can worsen arthritis symptoms, no matter how healthy your food is. Let me share this. A 78-year-old man named Antonio in southern Italy was interviewed by researchers from a longevity study. He had never taken a joint supplement, but could still touch his toes and walk 5 miles a day. When asked his secret, he simply said, "I eat good food, I move, and I don't let the world live in my head." That's wisdom. That's elderly reflections at its finest. So ask yourself, how do you treat your joints each day? Do you rush through meals, eat processed snacks, sit for hours without moving? Or do you nourish yourself the way the Mediterranean elders do, with intention, rhythm, and care? If you've been living with joint pain, know this. Your body isn't broken. It's inflamed. And inflammation can be quieted, meal by meal, step by step. If this spoke to you, please click that like button and subscribe to Elderly Reflections for more quotes, senior health tips, motivation, and life lessons from the elderly that truly inspire. And leave a comment below, where are you watching from? And what's one Mediterranean food you're curious to try? There's something beautiful that happens when you begin to nourish your body with intention. You start to feel lighter, not just in your joints, but in your spirit. That's what makes the Mediterranean lifestyle so powerful. It's not about perfection. It's about presence. About making small, healing choices each day that add up to something remarkable. Freedom. The freedom to walk without pain. To kneel in the garden. To climb stairs without wincing. To move through life, not just with strength, but with ease. We've already explored how olive oil, fatty fish, and colorful fruits and vegetables form the foundation of this anti-inflammatory way of living. But the Mediterranean secret to joint health goes even deeper. It's not just about what you eat, it's how you live. And in this part, we uncover the deeper layers that make this lifestyle so effective for seniors seeking to regain mobility and joy. Let's begin with grains and legumes, two of the most overlooked heroes of joint health. In the Western world, grains have gotten a bad reputation. But in Mediterranean cultures, whole grains like farro, barley, and bulgur are daily staples. These grains are rich in magnesium, fiber, and phytonutrients, all of which help reduce systemic inflammation. Magnesium in particular is crucial for maintaining strong bones and relaxed muscles. When your magnesium levels drop, your joints become stiffer, your muscles cramp more often, and recovery from even mild activity becomes harder. Legumes, beans, lentils, chickpeas, are equally powerful. They're packed with plant-based protein, iron, and fiber, and they support stable blood sugar levels. That matters more than you might think. When your blood sugar spikes and crashes, it leads to inflammation, and inflammation stiffens your joints like rust in a hinge. Consider Sophia, a 73-year-old retired schoolteacher from Spain. She used to rely on white bread and sugary snacks for comfort. But after struggling with hip pain, she began switching to lentil soups, barley salads, and whole grain breads. Within months, her pain eased, and she no longer needed her afternoon pain pills. "My joints felt like they exhaled," she said with a smile. Now let's talk about something many seniors don't consider: gut health. Your gut isn't just about digestion. It's the command center of your immune system. And when your gut is out of balance, inflammation spreads throughout the body, especially the joints. The Mediterranean diet is naturally rich in prebiotics, foods that feed the good bacteria in your gut. Garlic, onions, leeks, artichokes, and asparagus are all common ingredients in Mediterranean cooking, and they help build a healthy gut microbiome. Add to that fermented foods like yogurt and kefir, and you create a gut environment that fights inflammation at its root. A recent study from the University of Bologna found that seniors who followed a Mediterranean-style diet for 1 year showed not just better gut diversity, but measurable improvements in joint pain, mobility, and overall energy levels. Your gut and your joints are more connected than you think. But here's something even more powerful: slowing down. That's right. One of the deepest secrets of the Mediterranean lifestyle isn't found in a cookbook. It's found in the rhythm of life. Meals are slow. Conversations are long. Movement is gentle but constant. Rest is honored. And the nervous system, often overworked and overstimulated in modern life, finally has a chance to breathe. And when your nervous system calms down, inflammation drops. Cortisol levels lower. The joints begin to heal. Luigi, an 80-year-old olive farmer in Sicily, once told a researcher, "Pain comes when you rush. I move all day, but I never hurry." That's a wisdom most of us need to hear. So how can you bring this rhythm into your own life? Start with your meals. Sit down, take a deep breath, chew slowly. Turn off the TV and light a candle. Let your brain register the food before you take the next bite. Not only does this aid digestion, but it signals to your body that it's safe, that there's no stress to fight, no fire to put out. And when your body feels safe, healing begins. Next, let's revisit something incredibly practical: hydration. Many seniors live in a state of mild dehydration without knowing it. And dehydration, even slight, can lead to joint stiffness. Your joints are surrounded by synovial fluid, a natural lubricant that depends on water to do its job. Without enough hydration, that fluid dries up, and every step, every reach, every motion becomes harder. Eleni from Korea, whom we met in part 1, starts her day with a glass of warm water and lemon. Not coffee. Not juice. Just water. It wakes the joints, she says. And she's right. Add herbal teas throughout the day, like chamomile, mint, or fennel, and you'll not only hydrate but add plant compounds that support digestion and reduce bloating, another contributor to joint discomfort. And now, perhaps the most touching part of this lifestyle: community. Studies have shown again and again that loneliness increases inflammation. People who feel disconnected are more likely to experience joint pain, fatigue, and even more serious chronic conditions. But in Mediterranean cultures, meals are shared. Neighbors stop by. Elders are honored. Community is woven into the day like sunlight into linen. Let me share the story of Ana, 79, from Portugal. She lost her husband 3 years ago and fell into isolation. Her knees began to ache. Her back stiffened. But one evening, her neighbor invited her to a weekly cooking group for widows. They made simple meals: roasted vegetables, rice with lemon, stews with beans and greens. They talked, laughed, and cried together. Over time, Anna's joints improved. But more importantly, she improved. "It wasn't just my body that hurt," she said. "It was the silence, the loneliness, and the food and the laughter healed both." That's the secret that most doctors miss. True healing doesn't come from pills alone. It comes from the way we eat, the way we move, and the way we live. So here's what you can do, starting today. Switch your cooking oil to extra virgin olive oil. Add lentils, beans, or whole grains to your lunch or dinner. Eat more herbs and spices, like oregano, garlic, and turmeric. Drink water with lemon each morning. Invite someone to share a meal, even virtually. Sit down, slow down, and let your meals be moments of peace. These are not big, dramatic changes. They are gentle shifts. but they carry enormous power. If this message touched your heart, please like this video and subscribe to Elderly Reflections for more stories, senior health insights, quotes, and life lessons from the elderly. And leave a comment below. Where are you watching from? What small step will you take today to love your joints a little more? You have the wisdom. You have the time. Now you have the tools. There's something sacred about reclaiming control over your own body, especially after 70. When your joints move freely again, when the pain begins to quiet down, when you can bend, lift, stretch, and live without hesitation, it's not just healing, it's freedom. And the truth is, that kind of transformation doesn't come from miracle cures or fancy products. It comes from consistent, loving care, like the kind found in the slow, sun-soaked lifestyle of the Mediterranean. In the last 2 parts, we uncovered how anti-inflammatory foods, whole grains, healthy fats, herbs, movement, and meaningful connection can dramatically improve joint health. But there's still one more layer to this secret. One that ties everything together, not just for your joints, but for your entire well-being. It's purpose. You see, in Mediterranean villages, people don't stop living at 70. They don't retire from life. Instead, they stay involved. They plant gardens. They care for grandchildren. They fix fences, teach younger neighbors how to cook or repair tools, and share stories in the town square. Their lives still mean something, to others, and to themselves. And research backs this up. A study published in JAMA Psychiatry followed older adults, and found that those with a strong sense of purpose had less inflammation, lower risk of arthritis-related disability, and greater mobility. Purpose isn't just spiritual, it's biological. It gives the body a reason to keep moving, to keep healing. Take Georgios, a 90-year-old shepherd in Crete. He still wakes before sunrise to walk the hills with his goats. His knees are strong. His back is upright. When asked why he still works, he smiled and said, "Because the goats need me. And I still need the mountain." That's what many in the West have lost, not strength, but significance. The Mediterranean lifestyle heals that. It invites you back into belonging, into meaning. So if you're struggling with joint pain, stiffness, or fatigue, ask yourself, what gets me out of bed in the morning? Who needs me? What makes me feel useful? Your answers might surprise you. And they might be the very spark that starts your healing. Now let's return to something practical, because this is not just a story, it's a path forward. A way to act. One of the most powerful changes you can make is adopting what Mediterranean elders have done for generations. Starting your day with movement. Nothing fancy. Just 5 to 10 minutes of slow, intentional motion. It could be a walk to the mailbox, stretching your arms toward the sky, rotating your ankles while seated, or, like 84-year-old Maria in Naples, sweeping the porch every morning before breakfast. Why does this matter? Because movement first thing in the morning sends a message to your joints. I'm here. I'm using you. Stay alive. It stimulates synovial fluid, the natural lubricant inside your joints. It warms up the muscles, reduces stiffness, and prepares your body for the day ahead. Think of it like oiling a squeaky hinge. And the best part? It becomes a ritual. A sacred rhythm that sets the tone for strength, not struggle. Then, as the day continues, build in what Mediterranean elders call natural movement. They don't set aside an hour for the gym. They move throughout the day. Watering plants. Walking to the store. Carrying baskets of food. Climbing steps without elevators. This kind of movement keeps joints lubricated and muscles engaged without ever feeling like a workout. You can do the same. Walk while you're on the phone. Take the stairs instead of the lift. Stand on one leg while brushing your teeth. These small acts add up, and they keep your body awake. Now let's touch on another quiet healer. Sleep. Yes, your joints heal while you sleep. That's when inflammation settles, tissues repair, and your immune system resets. But many seniors struggle with sleep, either falling asleep or staying asleep. The Mediterranean lifestyle has an answer for this, too. They eat their largest meal at midday. They take short naps in the early afternoon. They avoid caffeine late in the day. They end their evenings with light herbal teas, like chamomile, lemon balm, or sage. And most importantly, they disconnect from noise before bed. No phones. No bright lights. Just calm. Stillness. A cool room. Maybe the sound of crickets or the ocean. You can recreate this. Start dimming lights after dinner. Sip herbal tea. Write in a gratitude journal. Let your nervous system settle. Because without deep, restful sleep, your joints remain inflamed. But with it, they restore. Now, if you're wondering, is it too late for me? Let me tell you about Thomas. Thomas is 87, lives in Marseille, and spent most of his life eating processed food, smoking, and barely moving. At 82, he couldn't stand without help. His doctor warned him he'd need a walker, or worse, a care home. But then he made a choice. He moved in with his niece, who happened to be a chef trained in Mediterranean cuisine. She fed him chickpeas with garlic and olive oil, roasted fish with lemon, tomatoes with basil, fresh fruit, herbal tea, no sugar, no fried food. And each day, she asked him to walk to the end of the driveway with her. 1 month later, he was walking to the mailbox alone. 2 months later, to the park. Today, he walks 2 miles each morning and no longer takes anti-inflammatory medication. When asked what changed, he said, "I started treating my body like something worth feeding, not fighting." So here's the question only you can answer. Are you ready to treat your body like something worth feeding, too? Because your joints? They're not broken. They're begging for love. For oil, for herbs, for color, for movement, for meaning. You have the power, the information, the examples. Now all that's left is the decision. So start small. Replace butter with olive oil. Add beans or lentils to your lunch. Walk for 5 minutes after dinner. Call a friend to share a meal. Stretch before you go to bed. And most of all, wake up each morning knowing your body is listening, and it will respond. If this message brought you hope, please like this video and subscribe to Elderly Reflections. This channel is built for you, for seniors who want more than survival. You want joy, movement, connection, and the wisdom that says aging doesn't mean fading, it means becoming. Leave a comment below. Where are you watching from? And what's one thing you'll try from this Mediterranean way of life? Here's to knees that bend, hands that open, backs that rise, and lives that keep moving, with grace, strength, and purpose.